My people, they want us to live so dirty, they want us to be illegal. My people, they want us to live so dirty, they really just want us illegal. They want us illegal.
Peace and Black Power, welcome to another edition of BABATV, House of Consciousness. It's my absolute pleasure and privilege to be able to interview this brother, brother George Macon from Philadelphia. Shout out to Southwest Philly. Unbeknownst to me, I interviewed him a few years ago when me and Brother Sonetta went to Black and Nobel to the pre-debate with Polite and Dr. Ali Muhammad and didn't even realize it. And when I saw him on Brother Sonetta, Sonetta TV or Black News 102, one of them, for the first time, I was blown away. I was like, wow, this brother got some deep knowledge and information, and I'm happy that he's on BABATV. Brother, anything that you might want? Well, first I want to talk a little bit about Southwest Philly. I was there visiting a childhood friend of mine, somebody I grew up with in Washington. He's from Philadelphia. Elaborate a little bit about Philadelphia, you know, the people of Philadelphia in general.
Well, the people of Philadelphia is a lot different than New York City. You know, like, you know, it seems like when I come to New York, like, you know, people, they talk at you, they're loud, you know, they're more friendlier than actual people from Philly. You know, and Philadelphia would be a barrel, you know, in New York. New York is so big, you know, it would just be one of the barrels. And Philadelphia is a territorial city. Like, you know, you don't really go all over the city and go into different neighborhoods and stuff like that. Like, you basically stay where you at unless you know somebody. You know, unless, I mean, especially if you're living in that street game. You know what I mean? You know, so when you come down to like a place like Southwest is a poor section of the city. It didn't used to always be like that, but it's just a city where it was plagued with drugs. You know, it has a lot of different ethnic groups. You know, you have the African Americans, you have the Africans, you have the whites, you have Asians, you have all these different groups all piled in together, you know, and it's just, you know, it's a poor section and it's a violent section of the city. You know, it's not as bad as it was in the 90s, but it's, you know, it can do better. It's not being gentrified like some of the other areas are being gentrified. Actually, the areas that's being gentrified in the city, they're moving those people from those ghettos into Southwest. So Southwest is becoming worse because Southwest is not an area that's close to the center city area where the real estate is high. So when you're dealing with a city like Philadelphia, you have places like the Bottom and parts of North Philly that's about a half a mile from the center city area, and those areas have the highest real estate. But those areas were the ghettos. That's where the projects and stuff were. Now that they're gentrifying those areas, they're actually moving those people out and they're moving them into areas like Southwest Philly. They're moving people from South Philly up into Southwest Philly. So, and that's what's happening. South Philly is like by the airport, so it's not close to the center city areas where it will be gentrified. So it's just like it's the same as it was before. You know, that's pretty much what's going on, you know, in Southwest. You know, you hear people speak about, you know, they having the same thing in New York in certain areas. You know, they gentrifying certain areas, but I always say, when they gentrifying these areas, where are they moving the people to? So where I come from in Southwest is actually one of the areas that they're moving the people to. So, you know, where crime is down, you know, in the city, but just in those areas it's up because, you know, it's not being gentrified and they're just packing people all into those different areas. You got any more questions?
Yes. Talk a little bit about, because I saw the video that you and Brother Sonetta did downtown in Times Square. Talk about your experience down there, and because I mean you have a very brilliant way of luring people in to teach or to expound on what you are telling them. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, I believe that when you're actually, you know, we're the news, so it's Black News 102, it's BABATV. So our job is to go and not just always be so opinionated. Our job is to go and get the stop the people and just ask them questions and let them speak their mind to the everyday people that we're trying to display this message to. So what I do, I go out and I actually talk to the people. I'll ask them questions, and like when I'm talking to white people, I'm not gonna go out and just challenge them and be rah 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 all in their face and run them away or make them not want to ask questions. When you're actually down there and you're interviewing people, you know, whether you're on Black News 102 or whether you're on BABATV, my job as the person doing the interview is to ask the people the questions, not to always be so aggressive and over aggressive. When I'm talking to white people, the white man don't need me to tell him how he is. He knows his stuff. We know the white man. So what I do, I'll go and I'll ask him a question, and then I'll step aside and just let him speak, because I want the listeners to see how the everyday white man thinks. So now if I challenge him aggressively, he's not going to answer the questions the way I want. He may not stop, he'll run away. So I heard some of the people left comments saying, well, you was more aggressive with the brothers than you was with the white man. Well, I was having dialogue with my people. I'm going to have a dialogue with my people. When I'm talking to the white man, it's not really too much. I'm going to let him speak his mind. I'm going to ask some questions, because our job is to bring the message back to the people, and then you leave the comments and say how you feel. So now when I say when you're doing interviews, you have to have a certain style in order to get people comfortable enough to want to talk to you. You can't just go, as soon as they say something you don't like, you just go off the deep end. Now you done made the interview about you. The interview is not about me. The interview is me being on BABATV or being on Black News 102 and bringing the information to the people. So now, when I was talking to the African brothers, we were going back and forth with dialogue, because I'm an African American and these were African brothers, and we was asking questions and we was talking back and forth. Right? So we was getting understanding to each other. I'm not really trying to get too much understanding with the white man. I'm just asking the white man's questions just so the average Black American can see how the average white American thinks. And that's what we do. So I tell people all the time, when you're out interviewing, stop all the time giving what you think or what you believe in it so much. Step aside and just let the people talk. And then the people that you're bringing a message to, let them leave the comments. These are the things that we got to start focusing on. Too many times I watch these platforms where brothers come on the platform, they'll ask a brother one question, and then once he answers, they'll go talk for a whole hour. And you're supposed to be interviewing the person, asking the person the question. So those you know, my tactics and my strategy when I'm back downtown Square, if I'm interviewing immigrants or I'm interviewing white people, I'll ask them questions and softly, because I want them to feel comfortable to be able to speak their mind. I don't want them to feel like they got to be guarded. It's easier to have conversations with my own people and go back and forth with my own people. So don't think that I'm being soft on the white man. No, I'm not being soft on the white man. I don't give a damn about the white man. But my job is to bring what he thinks in his mind every day. And the only way I'm gonna get that out of him is to get him comfortable to speak. You know, you got any more?
Our young people with the older generation, you were speaking something about that to me the last time that you were here. Give a little breakdown in the education for some of the older people that approach the young people. You were saying the wrong way. You say one thing to them and then they see you doing worse than what, you know what I'm saying? Yes, sir.
I double down on it. Listen, let me tell y'all something, man. I grew up in the 80s. I was a 70s baby. I grew up in the 80s and the early 90s. As adults, we got to stop being so hypocritical. Excuse my language. We got to stop being hypocritical. First of all, I'm standing here in Harlem in New York City. Harlem in the 80s and the early 90s. Are you serious? And we got the nerve today to want to come and judge our children. You know, we got to understand something. In order to, if we want to really fix these situations, we got to start being honest with our children. We got to stop letting our children believe there's something wrong with them and they're doing these things and they feel like they're the only ones that ever did these kind of things. No, they got their behavior patterns from us. There is no Nicki Minaj without a Little Kim. There is no Rick Ross without the original Rick Ross. Everything they do, they emulated from us. The stories that they tell in their music, in the drug game, they got it from us. We remember the South Bronx. We remember Harlem, uptown in 91, 92. We remember Southside Queens. We remember Staten Island and all these things. being from Philly. We know where we come from, but now that we so saved, sanctified, and delivered, we forget about where we come from and we judge our children. How about you go and you tell your son that he don't know who his father is because before you got in the church or before you garbed up, you was a whore. It was a toss-up between his father and 3 other men. Tell him that, because now when your daughter's doing the same thing, you want to kick her out of the household. You want to act like you never partake in that lifestyle. She's emulating and copying everything that we did. Our children are emulating and copying everything that we did. And because the reason why there's such a big gap between the elders and the youth, because instead of trying to teach them, we judge them. And reason why I don't like a lot of the youth music, I'm gonna be honest, but I don't judge it. When you hear like the Migos and all these different groups, you know why I don't judge it? Because the elders judged us. They judged the way that we dress. They judged the music that we listen to. They did everything. So why would I now get to my age and turn around and do the same thing to the kids when I'm trying to save their life? My job is to try to save you from what you don't know, because your future is my past. I've been there before. That's what my job is, not to judge you. So now the only way I can save your life is to come down to where you at and get you comfortable enough where you say, damn, big homie is real, he'll talk to me. So I gotta know how your language is. I gotta know the stuff that you're doing nowadays. If I'm judging you, you're gonna get away from me. So I'm trying to tell the elders, stop being so judgmental. Man, New York was averaging damn near 2,000 homicides a year. You know what I mean? Back in the 90s. It was killing everywhere. It was drugs everywhere. We was doing all kinds of stuff. And then we come around these youth, and we see these youth acting wild, and they gang banging and shit. We want to judge them. We want to throw them away. You're fucking old hypocrites. That's what you are, because you want to forget about where you come from, because you got so much dirt and behind that you don't want to deal with the kids that was born out of this. You got to understand something. Those crack era kids, they got children now, and now the children that you see running around now are children of the crack era, the crack babies that we produced. We produced these children. So now we get so hypocritical to the point where we don't want to deal with it. We just throw our children away, because those children is a reflection of our neglect. Now, we know historically what's happened to us. We know that there was a heroin and crack holocaust. We know it's systematically and institutionally what they did to us. But we still had a responsibility, and we failed in a lot of areas. So now it's easier to just blame the children. But remember, the children wasn't born in '87. These children running around now wasn't born in 1990 when we was running wild. You know what I mean? You know, some of the Polaroid pictures that your mothers was taking naked. You know what I mean? Some of the fathers was running around making millions of dollars, just dropping seeds everywhere and not even thinking about taking care of the kids. Tell your kids the truth, man, about what they was born into. Tell them about what we was doing. They ain't doing nothing that we wasn't doing. Man, we was doing worse magnified times 100. And I love the youth enough to tell them the truth, man. I love them enough to tell them the truth. I did all kinds of stuff. Yeah, it was kidnappings, it was children, babies, home invasions. It was all kinds of stuff going on during our era. Everything that you say in your rap music today, you're telling our stories, not your story. Our stories. And because we so hypocritical, we don't want to own up to that. And this is why we can't come through and help these youths. This is why we can't go in the Bronx and go in the corner and talk to these young boys where they tell you, oh, get the fuck up out of here. Or they just beat your ass because you're such a fucking hypocrite. Just tell them the truth. I go anywhere because the young bucks, they can see it. They can see the aura on me. I come from where you come from. I did everything that you did. And I'm not going to judge you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to talk that talk with you, but then I'm going to tell you the outcome of it. Because I got the resume to show it. I can tell you the pitfalls that it's going to be. I can tell you the nigga traps that they got set for you. I can't make you stop doing nothing. The only thing I can do is give you game. And tell you what I would do. Because like I said, your future is my past. I've been there before. And my job is to try to save your life from what you don't know. Before, when we was committing crimes, they was putting us away for 10, 15 years. They warehousing y'all now at 22. They giving you 45 to 90. You out of there in the prime of your life. There's brothers, man, that I ran the street with that's on the street now that got 1 and 2 homicides. They did time, they home. You ain't catching homicides and coming home now. You know what I'm saying? And the elders is just throwing you away. They want the government to come take you away. They don't give a shit because they don't have to be responsible for you. This is what's going on. And we got to find a way to get these videos that we make out to the youth, because the biggest issue that we're having is we're making videos and the only people that's watching these videos are conscious people. The youth that's walking by here, they're not paying attention to none of this stuff. They're not stopping. We need to find a way that when we disseminating this message, the young people are getting it. We're getting it to these rappers. We getting this message to the rappers where they begin to start making music, changing the psychological way that the masses of the people think through the music. This is the stuff that we got to do. So we say we conscious. If we really conscious, we got to get this message that we talking about to the people. I don't want to talk to other conscious people. I'm speaking to the choir when I'm talking to them. They know what I'm saying. I need to talk to these young bucks. What's your name, brother? How old are you, man? Come here, man. You my son age. This brother right here. This is the type of brothers that I need to get through to. The 25 and younger, man. I need to get this information to brothers like you. And y'all need to understand, listen, I'm never going to tell you to come and stop doing anything. Because regardless of what I say, you're going to do it anyway. But what I'm going to tell you is, because I was there before you, I'm going to tell you what the outcome of it's going to be. And I'm going to be able to show it to you. And then you're going to have to make the decision on your own. See, because I can tell you things to save your life, but I can't do it for you. This decision is going to be on you. Well, you know, a lot of you brothers is throwing rocks at the penitentiary, the same way we did. A lot of y'all don't have no fathers. A lot of y'all fathers are dead, been in prison all your life. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is the examples is there before you, but nobody was here to raise y'all generation. So now when we come back here to y'all with judgment, y'all look at us like, man, get the fuck out of here. I ain't trying to hear that. Oh, where was you at? You know what I'm saying? So what I want to do, you being 25, as a 25-year-old, I want you to tell me, how do you see the elders from a 25-year-old's perspective? I want you to tell me that. So talk to the camera and tell the people that.
Man,
take the microphone. Talk to the microphone.
It's a new generation that the youth out here running around with the gangbanging and all of that extra.
Speak up, man. Talk to the 25-year-olds. Don't be shy. Let them know.
Yeah, they gotta step up. They gotta step it up, you know, and stop all this violence and do something right, you know. All of this violence out here ain't doing nothing. What
do you think? As a 25-year-old, I have a son your age. What do you think? What do you expect from the older generations, the older males like us? What do you think that we should be doing for you guys? What type of path should we be paving for you guys?
Showing us the right way and guiding us through the right path and stop the violence and just do the right thing in life.
So tell me ways that you think that we can do it in order to get you guys to listen, because a lot of times when we having this message, a lot of you guys, y'all not listening to us. How can we begin to give this message where you guys want to come over to us?
In order for that to happen, is people just have to listen and watch the videos and take actions and do what they got to do as a responsibility man, you know. I mean, I can't say enough because I'm really shy, but
that's all right.
You know,
that's all right.
I appreciate everything you're saying. Anything you're saying right now is the truth. A lot of it, especially what's going on in the world right now, it's crazy. It's corrupt. The system, everything, looking at us black men as, you know, everybody is a bad person. So for that reason, the youth is going towards that and not follow the right way, doing the bad things, you know.
And see, I'm gonna tell you something, man. You know, I'm a firm believer of the universal creator, man, Most High. You know, I'm sincere in what I'm saying. I got a son doing 11 and a half to 22 years upstate right now, right? And he had everything that he ever wanted. He didn't have to live the life that I lived, but he was trying to live off the name that I once had, and it got him to where he is. So I take this seriously. I understand what I was putting my father through. I remember being young, and every time a homicide or a shooting or something would come on the news, my father would call me. He did this all the way up until I was damn near 35. You know, he would call me. I just called just to see where you were at. So me being an adult now and having grown children, I can understand not being able to sleep at night, worrying about where my children are, worrying about what my children are doing. And when I'm speaking about this, you see a youngin' just comes up and just stops, just comes and stops, because the Spirit of the Most High knows the people that's sincere and really doing this. Like I'm serious in what I'm saying. This generation is our future. This is who we passing this future off to, man. So my investment has to be in you. It has to be in you. I have nobody else to invest it in. So when I'm talking and giving this information, I have to know, how can I serve you? Do you understand what I'm saying? See, because if I'm not serving him, Baba, he could be the next guy busting my 25-year-old son upside the head to get what he need, or my son could be busting him upside his head. True that. All because me being an elder, I'm not passing this information down. Well, so I got a responsibility. Even though you're not my son, you're still my son. I got a responsibility to you. as a black man in America. You understand what I'm saying? Your ancestors suffered the same affliction as mine. And we got to get out of this. When people say we're ignorant, no, we're not ignorant. We're culturally ignorant. Because we're culturally ignorant, that's what brings about all the other ignorance and things that you see in the communities. We're culturally ignorant, man. And so, like I said, man, we got to just begin to wake up. What's your name, brother?
Omar.
Omar?
Yes.
What's up, Omar?
Right.
Man, I'm just serious, man.